Very excited to be joined by a returning member and a Canadian-born member of the Winnipeg Goldeyes roster, and that is right-handed pitcher Jose Vasquez. Did a terrific job joining the club late in 2021. Joining us from Ontario. Jose, great to hear from you. Thanks so much for taking the time out here this evening.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me on, man.
Well, Jose, excited to have you back here with the Winnipeg Goldeyes. Really a great opportunity for you. A couple of years removed from college, and of course, no one was really able to play there because of COVID in 2020. Just kind of take us through what last year was like for you. I remember you came that day in Jackson. The team was still actually in Jackson, Tennessee, so you got to experience a little bit of that. And then, of course, the transition back to Winnipeg. But what were your thoughts and kind of your first experience in a professional environment?
Well, the time leading up to it, I'd been playing in a free agent league, in the Yinzer with the Black Sox Pro Baseball, and so the opportunity kind of came about at a time where, it was really close up to the free agent deadline there at the end of July, and so it was. I'm extremely thankful that it all played out the way it did. The first, showing up to Jackson, it was like 110 degrees Fahrenheit, about 45 degrees. So it was kind of just jumping into the action and just familiarizing just new level of baseball, and just a new clubhouse, and just understanding that what's being asked, and just knowing that the task is to win the game, and just seeing how best to be a part of that.
Just kind of give us your thoughts and getting to know a lot of the teammates, but specifically a lot of the pitchers that you were sharing the clubhouse with last year. There are a couple other Canadian guys like Landon Barassa and Travis Seabrook who are also going to be coming back to the team here in 2022, but you got to play with Donnie Hart there over the final month, a guy that spent quite a bit of time in the major leagues with the Baltimore Orioles. What was it like that for you as a younger player to kind of soak all of that in and not only have the success that you did on the mound, but I guess learn from some of the guys that have been to some of the higher levels?
Yeah, those guys in the clubhouse. Seed, Josh Brook, playing that he was bringing, just getting pointers from Donnie and Bud, and just a little bits of knowledge that would go around just even in the bullpens before the game stuff, just little tweaks and little things that, you only hear from guys who played at that level. So, we've all been playing baseball for a really long time. We've all been around the game, but to really soak in the knowledge from guys like Tony and Bud and Eduardo Reyes, those guys were really great mentors. Guys just how it all. It was a true blessing to be a part of that.
Jose Vasquez, Winnipeg Goldeyes pitcher, joining us on the latest edition of the Inside Pitch. And how cool was it for you not only to experience the transition back to Winnipeg there in early August, or I know that it really been just long awaited for everybody, the players and certainly the fans here for the Goldeyes, who hadn't experienced a home game in almost 2 seasons by that point. But for you in particular, being Canadian yourself, to have that opportunity to see the big crowd here and just kind of feel that energy and the atmosphere at Shaw Park for that final month of the season.
Well, I will say, I remember getting back to town, I think it was August 1st or 2nd there, and, we were just out on the street and being Canadian as well. I know how slow moving some of the restrictions were, obviously, compared to the U.S. So, getting back to Winnipeg and get back to Shaw Park, it was extremely exciting, and we didn't really know what to expect because, everything kind of happened so fast. But man, that was rocking like a Christmas tree. The first game out, I think we put up like 14 runs that day, It was an electric time, and yeah, wow, that was electric. So then, it's a good time.
One of the it was fun kind of watching you go about your business and taking on some hitters that were a lot older than you. And one of the great weapons you have in your arsenal is that excellent changeup. That's for a lot of pitchers, especially younger pitchers, that can be the last pitch to develop in a repertoire. But it seems like you had a really, really good feel for that. How long had you been throwing that pitch, and how long did it kind of take to develop, to a point where you had so much confidence in it last year?
Man, that has just always been the pitch. I feel like it's gotten me to college, through college, and just growing up. I hold that thing on the two seams with the middle finger, the ring finger, and it's kind of a field pitch. So to any young ball players or any coaches that are out there, it's one of those pitches that you just go out and play catch. My junior college coach, Dusty Hart, he would have us playing fastball changeup. Until 90, 100 feet, and so just developing the feel for that off-speed pitch coming off of a fastball is certainly a great weapon for any guys growing up.
We had played the clip there introducing you, and it was the third game when you guys came back to Winnipeg. It was the day game. You were coming off that dramatic walk-off grand slam by Dakota Connors, and you had the chance to finish off the sweep of Sioux City. And you were one of the few fresher arms left in the pen, and you end up finishing off what was a really close game with 3 scoreless innings to pick up your first career save. What did that do just kind of for your confidence to take on professional level hitters in front of a lively crowd in Winnipeg and have that kind of success as you kind of closed out the season there?
It was a lot of fun. I remember the couple outings that I had prior to that were also, a little stretched out relief. So, man, it was electric. It was kind of a step up in the task. There was a little more at stake, and so I'm thankful that it all went as planned. It was the finishing off that series. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was nice to see people up at the day oven, up at the restaurant. So it was exciting. That whole homestand was absolutely electric, and just looking forward to more of that here coming up soon.
You know what? I know this is really big out by in Ontario, closer to where you're from. But can you tell us about the Inter-County Baseball League? It's kind of a mix of amateurs and pros, but the talent's actually really high. And if I'm not mistaken, Dalton Pompey, the former Toronto Blue Jay, recently signed with an Inter-County Baseball League club. What can you kind of tell us about what the competition's like there?
Well, the IBL's been around for a long time. They run a great program, and there's a great deal of passion of baseball out this way as well. And so, a lot of managers have been there for a long time, and it's nice to see that baseball at this levels is continuing to grow. There's things that happen in the major league level, alts and cutting of teams and things of all that nature. But the IBL is certainly growing, and the talent pool is only growing. So it's nice to see. It's been a little bit. And seeing how much it's growing and people starting to pay more interest to it, it's cool to see.
And Jose, I did want to ask you. I remember when we had first signed you, I kind of was looking up at your previous college bio from Northwestern State, and one of the things that immediately stood out is that you're a black belt in Taekwondo, and certainly we saw how athletic you were on the baseball field last year. I know that's kind of been a big part of your entire family, but just how important is that to you? When did you kind of first get into that, and is it something you still maybe practice from time to time, even today?
Oh yeah, Taekwondo was a huge part of growing up in my house. It was by default, really. Since the day we were walking dad had us at the Taekwondo Academy, kicking and punching. But it's been a great deal of discipline in my life, and I mean that was Dad's thing. He was world class. So yeah, we don't really practice all too much anymore. Everybody's kind of picked up their own sport or their own thing that they do. But it's certainly great part of our upbringing, and I can still flip a roundhouse over someone's head, But praise the Lord, we don't have to do that anytime.
And obviously that's a great way to kind of develop physical fitness and physical skill. But you hear so much about how martial arts develops mental strength and mental toughness. Did you find that was the case when you were kind of going through the programs?
Most definitely. Yeah, I mean, the thing about martial arts is that, there's a sports side of it. If you want to compete, there's a lot of, mixed martial arts and stuff on TV, and there's a great deal of attention for that. But also just for the discipline aspect. I mean, there's people of all walks of life and have gone through some great deal of stuff. But I mean, there's just something for everybody. And it's a great place, great community, and so yeah, I would recommend that for any younger kids or anyone who's looking for self-defense or a good workout or anything of that nature. Like, that is without a doubt a good place to practice that.
Well, outstanding stuff. We're really excited to have you back with the Winnipeg Goldeyes. But before we let you go, any last words here for the fans before they get to see you in person here in a couple of weeks? Yeah,
City of Winnipeg. I mean, I'm excited to get back. I mean, last year we kind of got a feel for what it's like, but I'm excited to see everyone at the ballpark. But I'm also excited to see everybody on the streets and at the local restaurants and at school, and just being a part of the community again. So I know this is my first full swing, but yeah, I'm excited to explore Winnipeg, and hopefully we can bring the energy like the Bombers did when they won the Grey Cup not too very short time ago. So go Goldeyes.
Well, great stuff, Jose. Thanks so much for the time. All the best to you and the family, and can't wait to see you here in a couple of weeks.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Welcome back to our latest edition of the Inside Pitch on CJNU 93.7 FM. The Winnipeg Goldeyes getting closer and closer to both spring training and their opening day in 2022. Camp begins on May 5th here in Winnipeg, and the season and home opener Friday, May 13th here at Shaw Park against the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. Season tickets and 10-game mini packs on sale now by calling 982-BASE or visiting goldeyes.com. Once again, we're, as always, excited to be joined by the longtime manager of the Winnipeg Goldeyes, and that, of course, is Rick Forney, joining us from his home out in Walkersville, Maryland. Rick, getting closer and closer, just a little over 2 weeks away until players begin reporting here to Winnipeg. You'll be here as well. How much more amped up are you getting as we really get close to the start of training camp, and just what's your excitement level at right now?
Oh, I'm excited. Watching the baseball on TV, I actually took my youngest son Eric to the Orioles-Yankees game Friday night to watch baseball, and our arrival in Winnipeg's going to be here before we know it. Guys are anxious to get up there, and most of them are probably going to beat me into town, so we're all getting ready to play some baseball. Hopefully the weather will help us.
That's great. You got out to the Orioles game there. I know, just because of the nature of your work during the summertime, probably not a lot of opportunities the last couple decades here working for the Goldeyes to get out to a big league game. But even as you've worked in pro ball for so many years, do you still enjoy getting out to a major league ballpark like that and just kind of seeing the best players in the world do their thing?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have opportunity and. Obviously in April and September to go to ball games. whether I go to Baltimore or whether I drive down to D.C., it's basically about the same amount of driving time and distance. So I just, Friday it was 70 degrees out. It was a nice evening. We had no plans. And Camden Yards, maybe that's all you need to say. It's a beautiful ballpark and just great refreshments there. Just I like going to ball games there. It's just a cool place, and just so happened that the Yankees were in town. It was a good ball game. I think the Orioles won in the 11th inning 2-1. So we were treated to a really good ball game. Just nice to be out in the environment. And, really enjoyed my time there with my son, and maybe we'll catch another ball game before I leave town here.
Before we jump into the latest Winnipeg Goldeyes roster updates, I did want to get your opinion on this, just from both a pitcher's and a manager's perspective. There was, obviously Clayton Kershaw is going to be a future Hall of Famer, and last week he was pulled after 7 innings with a perfect game in the Dodgers home opener, and having thrown just 80 pitches, everybody kind of said the right things afterwards, but I was just kind of curious about your perspective on that, and just maybe what you might have done in that situation.
Well, I think Dave Roberts hit the nail right on the head when the day after, he said, I can't manage this ball club with my fan cap on. And it's true, you can. I mean, in a perfect world, you'd be able to leave that guy out there and take a shot at it. But unfortunately, it's anything but a perfect world early in the season when you're dealing with a veteran arm that's, had some health problems the last few years. You're trying to do everything you can to keep your starting rotation healthy and intact over the course of 162 games. You're hoping your starting pitchers can give you 33 to 34 starts a year. And there's a bit of a risk involved. And for a veteran, older, experienced guy that's got a little mileage on his arm, the risk is obviously a little bit higher than it is with the younger arm. So tough situation for the manager to be in. The decision from a fan perspective, I totally get it. I mean, especially if you're sitting in that ballpark, you would love to see that guy get an opportunity to go out there and get 6 more outs. Just unfortunately, it just wasn't reality.
Talking with Winnipeg Goldeyes manager Rick Forney, our second to last radio show. Again, camp will get underway here in just over a couple of weeks. The home opener and season opener on Friday, May 13th against the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks. We've got 3 brand new player announcements to get to here, and I know you've been mentioning the last couple of shows you'd like to shore up a little more starting pitching, and you brought in a really exciting young arm by the name of Alex Manasseh. It's some really good seasons in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Last year got as high as AAA, and his numbers really maybe better than what the ERA might say. And just a guy that seems like he has good stuff and a track record of throwing a lot of innings.
Yeah, he's an innings eater, and he's an athletic strike thrower. We need some start pitching, and not a ton of start pitching been made available to us. Alex's teammates in the Pirates organization, he played with Dion, and he knew of Logan Hill. They never played together because Logan was drafted a few years before him, so Logan was always on the upper levels when Alex is getting started. Just a hungry kid looking for another opportunity, and I'm glad we were fit for one another and got things worked out. I'm excited that he's going to come up there and pitch for us.
So Alex Manasseh, right-handed pitcher, got to AAA last season in the Pittsburgh Pirates organization, one of the newest additions now to the Winnipeg Goldeyes roster. And just kind of looking up and down the pitching staff, it's kind of, I would imagine, somewhat by design that you really have a lot of guys, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, that they can fill a lot of different roles. You've got relievers that can, potentially give you more than just 3 outs on any given night, and you've got a few guys that can maybe, work both in the rotation or maybe as a long relief type role as well.
Yeah, we have a little bit of flexibility with our pitching staff, and I think after what we went through last year, we needed to find some guys that can do multiple things for us because you just don't know what's going to happen. And, I'm still looking for arms, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't feel like I have enough arms at this point to start the season. So it's probably going to be one of those deals where I'm trying to add to my pitching staff, as we go along here. But we got some versatility and some guys that can do multiple things. And, we're hoping that everybody's healthy and in shape. And I know they're all anxious, ready to go. And we'll see how this thing plays out. It just got some hungry guys that are excited about getting to Winnipeg. So I think our pitching staff's upgraded for sure. And I like the way things look right now. Just hopefully we can add another experienced guy to it.
No, you bring in a couple of young position players here with upside. We'll start with the guy from the Baltimore Orioles organization, Andrew Martinez. Looks like he can play all over the infield. Has some nice defensive versatility and some nice pop. It looks like it's hit a decent amount of home runs during his college days at UC Santa Barbara, a really good Division I program. But your thoughts on bringing in Andrew Martinez to kind of shore up the infield a bit?
Yeah, just a good, young, athletic infielder. I mean, Darvill's not going to start the season because he's got other commitments. And, we needed some other guys. Just Andrew became available, got released at the end of spring training. Just an athletic infielder that can play multiple positions, has some pop in his bat. Good on-base percentage guy. He'll take some walks. Unfortunately, in his pro career, he never got a chance to play with any kind of regularity. And, if you're not playing, you're not going to do much on offense. It's nearly impossible if you're playing once every 3 or 4 days. So I like the fact that he can play short. I like the fact that he can turn the pivot at second base and play third, do some things. He's got a little pop in his bat. He's hungry, and he wants to play baseball. So just an athletic infielder, guy take a little walks, maybe steal a bag for us, and he's hungry. So all those things, he checks all the boxes. And glad we were able to get him to come to terms and bring him to town, see what he can do.
You've also inked a young outfielder, another one actually out of the Toronto Blue Jays organization. Last show we talked about the addition of Reggie Pruitt, a really exciting outfielder, but now you brought in a guy by the name of Eric Rivera, again, a guy that looks like he can play all three outfield positions. He's had a decent amount of stolen bases already in his pro career, and another guy similar to Andrew Martinez, looks like he's willing to take his walks when the opportunity's there.
Yeah, another guy that's going to take the walks, can go first and third, can steal bags, play all three outfield positions. He just provides us with a lot of versatility. And besides Pruitt, I mean, we don't really have another center fielder. I mean, Max could play out there, but I don't really want to move Max out of right field because I think he's the best right fielder in the league, and our team's better served with him playing right field. So, with Eric, he can do a little bit of everything for us. And I also kind of feel, as I said before, that we're going to have some cold games, and it's going to be damp, and we got to protect some legs, and we're going to have some guys that can play multiple positions because I don't truly believe that guys are going to be able to play every day once the season starts. And I'm not sure if other teams kind of feel the same way, but I want to make sure I protect my roster and make sure we got some guys that, if we got some sore legs, that we can plug some other people in there and still be able to defend the field the way it needs to be defended.
And I guess tying into that, we were just talking about this off air, but the reality of the situation. I mean, the field right now is still covered in a fair amount of snow. We expect that to maybe dissipate by the time that camp begins. But I would imagine that's going to play a role as well in trying to just kind of keep everybody's legs safe with probably some tougher conditions at Shaw Park early in the year.
Yeah, it is tough up there early in the year. I mean, the infield dirt can get a little bit soft at times, and it's not uncommon for us to have sore calves and sore quads and sore hamstrings when we're playing in Winnipeg, and we got to make sure we protect ourselves. And we got some people on our team. I don't think carrying 10 position players or even 11 position players is going to be the smartest thing to do at this point. So. We're going to have some competition. We're going to have a lot of guys in camp that can play and do multiple things. They're all good baseball players. We're going to roll it out there and see what we got. But we feel pretty good right now about what we have in terms of depth, field coverage. So looking to add another pitcher or two, and off we go. We'll play some games and see what it looks like.
We had talked, a while back about you could bring a couple extra guys potentially to camp. The maximum this year is 30 players. You mentioned that, weren't quite sure if you'd go all the way up to 30. You would sort of feel that out. The other element to that is the 25-man roster you guys are allowed to have in the regular season for the entire season, which is a bit of a change from previous years. Do you see yourself carrying, the max 25 to start the year, or is that another situation where you just kind of might feel it out, and if you have the right guys at 23, that's maybe the route to go?
I'm definitely going to feel this one out. I mean, if I have 25 that I can definitely use and think it's the right thing to do, then I'm going to do it. If I feel like I can play with 22 or 23 and be safe, then I would do it. I just don't think 22 is realistic at this point. So we'll start with more than that. Whether it's going to be 23, 24, 25, I'm not sure yet. But we'll see how some things shake out. And a couple more weeks of trying to land some pitchers and get some depth on the pitching staff. And I don't know what's going to happen with the other rosters. Maybe there's a waiver claim or two that could go our way. So I really can't predict the future, but I'd like to think that I'd carry at least more than 22 to start the season.
You use the the word hungry here, describing some of these some of the younger players that you brought in. The Martinez, Eric Rivera. You used it to describe Jalen Smith, the exciting young left-handed pitcher that you signed a couple of weeks ago. How important, or I guess how attractive of an attribute is that for you when you're having a conversation trying to recruit these players, and you just kind of get that vibe that these guys really want to make the most of this opportunity when you're going through the recruiting process?
I think it's very important. I mean, you don't want guys that their feelings are hurt and they're not sure whether they want to play baseball anymore, and going through all of that when they get released for the first time. You want guys that are hungry, that want to keep playing, that want to prove that somebody that let them go made a mistake, and you want to make sure you got guys that you don't have to worry about whether they're going to play hard for you every night. Most importantly, I want guys that want to be there. And when I talk to guys, and I can tell just in the conversation when they really want to be there, that they're a better fit for you. When you got to convince guys to come play for you, then might not always work out for you. So I like the conversations I'm having with these young kids and how excited they are about continuing their careers and coming to play in Winnipeg. There's going to be good energy there, and I'm excited to watch them play.
Yeah, we're talking with Goldeyes manager Rick Forney on the second last edition of the Inside Pitch training camp, just over 2 weeks away here for the 2022 American Association season. And we've talked a little bit here about the importance of trying to keep guys fresh, getting them an adequate amount of rest here early on, especially in this season because of the weather and the shorter camp this year. And one guy that's going to play a big role in that, you've got a new trainer this year in Ty Hassel. You've had a lot of success with trainers coming in here really for a long time, and it's something that I would imagine that's got to make you feel pretty good too about the training talent or depth, whatever word you like to use, over the last number of years, where so many of these guys have moved on to whether it's been the Winnipeg Jets or the Canadian Football League or other higher level leagues, that you've been able to have a bit of a pipeline in that regard.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to have some good trainers come through there, and it's been long over 20 years. I mean, we've always had good help there. And Andrew does a good job of finding guys, and he gets a lot of help from our former trainer Bradshaw, who's working with the Winnipeg Jets now, and Russ Horrible, and just good people that understand the job, and I think can give good guidance to the young guys that are looking to take this job as to what's involved in it. What the prospects of moving on out of something like this to a better situation could be. And we've been fortunate. We've had some really good trainers, and I haven't met the new guy yet, but I'm sure I'll get a chance to meet him as soon as I get into town, and I'm sure he'll do a great job.
Well, outstanding stuff. Again, Goldeyes had 3 players here. I just announced here tonight: Alex Manasseh, right-handed pitcher out of the Pirates organization, and 2 position players, and infielder Angel Martinez and outfielder Eric Rivera. Just one more show, believe it or not. Here, we'll catch up with you again here in a couple of weeks. Final thoughts here before we close out this segment here, as far as maybe what you're looking for to cap off the roster before the start of camp.
Well, just a little bit more pitching depth. I'd like to at least be able to start with 13 or 14 pitchers. So I've still got a few guys to try to get if I can accomplish that. But more importantly, you better do something about that weather up there, Steve, before I get to town.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm sure the weather will be fine, just like it always is when we get there. Just unfortunately, old man Winter wants to hang on a little bit longer than he should. But I'm sure the ground will be cleared up and the sun will come out just in time to play baseball.
Well, exciting time of the year. Always excited to catch up with you, Rick. All the best to you and the family, and we're looking forward to the last interview here in a couple of weeks.
All right, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
It's been a great time. Yes, I do have thought processes and things that I'm looking to implement with regards to a lot of the things that I did see that worked really well with my time in Houston, and some of the things that I saw working in affiliated ball. But and that was a big part of my conversations with Major League Baseball when the opportunity presented itself was with this becoming a partner league, trying to create a situation that mimicked affiliate ball as best as we could, and granted, I understand that it is independent ball, but at the same time, these players do have the ultimate goal of trying to be picked up into affiliated ball, and hopefully one day making it big league. So, now that I've had a little taste of what's being done on both sides of the circuit, trying to just take the best of both worlds and see if I could come up with my own game plan and the situation to be successful there for the players and for the Garrett community.
How about the roster? You've got a nice mix here. I know the Railcats, maybe in terms of wins and losses, didn't have a great season in 2021, but you've got a number of guys that performed well, whether it's on the pitching side or on the position player side, and you've kind of supplemented that with some really intriguing names that you brought in from affiliated ball. Just to kind of give us an overview of the makeup of your roster right now. I believe you got about 28 guys signed as we head into camp here in a couple of weeks.
Yes, exactly right. I had to rely on a lot of scouting reports and conversations with people who've seen the players that I inherited under Greg Taggart, and I actually spoke with Greg Taggart and spoke with the front office and made some phone calls in and some feelers and some scouts and friends that had seen some of the players that were currently on the team. So, you're exactly right. There's definitely some players that have proven themselves, although young, have proven themselves that they can compete and succeed at the American Association level. And around that, I've tried to bring in a little bit more experienced players with regards to affiliate backgrounds and kind of see what we have. Like I said, for me, it's a unique situation because I haven't seen any of the players play outside of any videos that have been sent to me, anything like that. So it is, it's definitely one of those situations where I have to see what I have, but at the same time, I'm trying to wisely go about it in a manner of bringing in additional talent to go with what's there, and I guess I'll know what I have here in a couple of weeks, and then from there, I just assume that it's going to be a constant adjustment during the course of the season until we get it right. So, like I said, I've studied the other teams' rosters and the way that things have been done, rule policies, but at the same time, for my conversations with front office, ownership, and everything, just trying to stick to the game plan of how we see things going in Gary and implementing a situation that we feel is good for our community, and then good for the ball players, and then hopefully a situation that allows players to have the opportunity to return to or get the opportunity to get into affiliated ball.
one of the guys that stands out, I'm really excited to see what maybe he could do over the course of a full season, is Aaron Phillips. You were able to come to terms with him a few weeks ago. I think he only made 2 or 3 starts at the very end of the year for the Railcats, but had a fantastic resume in the Giants organization, pitching really well at a high level in Double-A in his career. But just kind of your thoughts on where he might fit into your rotation or your pitching staff in general, and maybe what he could do over the course of 20 starts or 100 innings for you.
Oh, exactly. I mean, Aaron and I have had a couple of conversations, good conversations, and it's also very nice as well that a good friend of mine that I came up with the Colorado, as a player with the Colorado Rockies, is the former big league pitching coach, but he's the current AAA pitching coach for the Giants, and I actually lives in my neighborhood here in Phoenix, and we're good friends, and I was actually able to get on the horn, and he knew Aaron. So I was able to have good conversations with him with regards to Aaron, and definitely only had a couple of starts last year. It sounds like what he brought to the table, electric and exciting, and a confident brand of pitching up on the mound, and he's currently our high. I don't know the proper terminology, be clarification on our pitching staff. We're relatively young pitchers. But he does bring experience, so I'll be leaning on him with regards to the experience and being there for the younger guys and showing them what it's about and how to go about it. But my conversations with him, he's definitely shown confidence, the willingness to get to it, the wanting to have another opportunity in affiliated ball, and it's just all things that I'm all about. And I want to see these players succeed. Obviously we want to win, want to put a good product out there for the Gary community, but we also want to see him have a return to Major League Baseball. So he definitely fits the mold of what I'm looking for, what I'm hoping to bring in, and what I'm hoping to be a part of in a successful baseball career.
And I would imagine joining him near the top of the Railcats rotation, a guy that's been extremely successful in the league for a number of years now, but that's left-hander Trevor Lupking. And I guess in a day and age where the average length of a start is much shorter than it was maybe 5, 10, 15 years ago, Lupking is a guy that's consistently gone out there and thrown 120 innings or more. Just how valuable is that to have, given the modern pitching landscape, if you will?
Well, exactly. I mean, he definitely has shown the Iron Man mentality on the pitching mound, and I've had, once again, he's another player I've had multiple conversations with, and he's text messaged me. He's actually here in the Phoenix area right now, getting ready for the season. But he's been very, very open. Very excited about me coming on board, about some of the changes that we're going to be doing, and my goal once again would be with him. He's obviously a player who deserves an opportunity should it present itself to get himself back into Major League Baseball. And as much as I would hate to lose him, I would love to see him one day pitch in the big league. So he's going about it the right way. He's preparing in the right way. Obviously, he'll be a main factor in our pitching rotation, I just can't say enough about him, but I can't wait to meet him actually in person.
Lamarr Rogers, the new manager of the Gary South Shore Railcats, former coach of the St. Paul Saints, former manager in the Houston Astros organization, joining us here on our second to last edition of the Inside Pitch. Really excited to talk about some of the analytics and things that you had you implemented and used with Houston Astros organization, who have really been on the cutting edge of incorporating analytics into on-field performance. I guess for fans that are listening and may not be as familiar, just how important is this, and how much has this really become part of the day-to-day? It's I know there's still maybe a camp out there that's resistant to it, but really at this point it's kind of unavoidable. Just kind of what are your thoughts on incorporating analytics and advanced information into your day-to-day operations, and how do you plan to kind of do that here as manager of the Railcats?
Well, unfortunately, from a player standpoint, numbers don't lie, but from a coaching standpoint, it's always your supporting system. So, when I was with Houston, a big part of our success was the implementation of information, and I found my relationships with the ball players. Granted, I had the playing background, but I also understood the analytical information as well. So I was kind of that guy with Houston who could sit down with ball players and get them on a layman's terms, understand things and the importance of things and why, and just getting players to understand that what they perceive as an asset be an asset, and what is actually being considered an asset right now is where your weakness is, and it might be why you're still at where you're at. So, it kind of comes in line with regards to me working in wealth management and asset management, is just understanding the indicators, what's going on out there with regards to professional baseball, what's being used as the waylayers to success, or to be considered a successful ball player, and using the information as a tool, not everything. I still believe, you have to have confidence in what you're doing and understanding your body and everything like that, but at the same time, information is there to help you, and each player is different. I've had players, I could just, I could go back to Houston, but I've got so many players that I manage that are currently in the major leagues, and like a Kyle Tucker or a Miles Straw or Framber Ball Valdez. I managed all of these players, the Daz Camerons and Jake Rogers. And I could just go through all these players that I manage that are currently in the major leagues. That each of them usage of the information was completely different, and so. From a coaching standpoint and implementing a coaching staff, you want a staff that can relate to the ball players and get them to understand where that information can be useful, and it's up to the player to implement it. And like I said, I had players who barely wanted any of the information, but then I had some players who full-heartedly, wanted all the information or half of the information. And, and a good coach, they're going to work with each player to figure out what's successful and what makes that player successful, and get them that information and try to implement it. So, I'm more about asset management from the standpoint of it's a useful tool. Let's implement it, and let's try to figure out how it can be successful for each player. And then once we find out what's successful for each player, let's stick to that game plan and see it through. So, that's what I'm about. I wouldn't consider myself 100% analytics at any point, but at the same time, like I said, I do see it as a very useful tool. I've seen so much success with it. It's the day and the time, as you said. It's just the way things are right now.
I'm interested just because the Astros in particular have really had such an emphasis on the pitching side of high spin fastballs, working up in the zone, kind of pairing that with a high spin curveball to move in the opposite direction. Obviously the guys here in the American Association don't quite have that velo, may not have that same type of spin rate, but just kind of having seen so many of those great pitchers in the Astros organization in recent years, do you think maybe like the sinker and the two-seam and maybe a lower spin fastball has become a little bit underrated, because there are quite a few guys in the American Association in particular, just because they don't have that premium velocity, that are still maybe classic sinker slider guys and had success? But do you think that combination, just by virtue of everyone gravitating towards high spin and high velo, has maybe become a little bit underrated?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, the ability to keep a hitter off balance is always going to be your continuum. So, the thought process has just, with the analytics, pitchers always talk to throw down, and then they realize that swing planes and everything and launch angles and everything were levied towards pitching down. So obviously then you say, okay, then I'm going to take my 93, 94 mile an hour fastball, I'm going to pitch it up. And then it doesn't swing, then all of a sudden you have something that's not into this plane. So from the thought process of, for me, with regards to analytics, the underlier becomes, like you were saying, maybe the pitchers don't throw as hard, but they throw the off speed. So then it's just an indicator for the hitter that if you do have this swing plane and whatever that angle and degree might be, you do have pitches that are actually being thrown into your swing plane. So if that is the case, the indicator then becomes, okay, if this is the type of pitcher that you're facing and this is where we're facing and our swing planes are actually geared towards this should actually levied towards you as success. But then it becomes an indicator on the hitter that if you aren't able to do it, then it's that you as a hitter need to make the adjustment. So, that's where, that the ability to pitch hard and then come soft is so prevalent, and then the understanding of a player to be able to control themselves and keep themselves balanced and the ability to have repeatable actions up at the plate becomes so important, because you see hitters all the time who will just strike out on average to subpar off speed just simply because they can't control their bodies. So, or what you would consider in the old terminology, bad guessers. So it's just, like I said, I just have to go back to it. The information is just so useful. This season will definitely be a learning curve for me with regards to understanding the pitching, how it's being done here. I've been watching the signees, and a lot of the players being signed, they come with good velocity. So it's just really just going to be a matter of, are the pitchers that are being picked up and being signed, they're, quality velocity? Are they just not able to throw strikes, or is it an indicator that they do throw strikes, but like you said, then it's the spin rates, and our spin rates are down, or you know what I'm saying? So it's just a matter of understanding what I'm a part of now, and taking that information and applying it, and seeing if I have players that can use that information in a successful manner.
And from what I understand, you're actually considering using maybe a piggyback or tandem system with your starting pitchers. Could you give us an idea of what that entails, and what a successful tandem model would look like over the course of a full season?
Well, yeah, that's no secret. A lot of the majority of affiliated ball have gone to a system of tandem pitching, and it's just a way of minimizing pitch count, keeping pitchers fresh, a mental capacity for maximum effort, and then creating a situation of I don't know the proper way to say, but a way of competing within the team. So, the tandem situation, like I said, it's been around for a while. It was very successful when I was over at Houston, and I know everyone does it now for the most part. I would think that last I heard was like 80, it was a little bit over 80% of the teams are now in some form or another implementing some kind of form of tandem pitching, especially with regards to the minor leagues, and in spring training and everything like that as well. So, like I said, it's just something where you're looking out for the pitchers. You're trying to create situations of success for them, and you're using the model of working together instead of trying to put all the burden of pitching on one guy or two guys or whatever it might be. It's more of a we're in this together, and we've got to pick each other up, and we've got to be there for each other, and it's just and from a development standpoint, it's just been a good way to go about things, especially when you're dealing with younger pitchers and pitchers developing and pitchers that you're wanting to see succeed long term. So, that's just some things like you mentioned earlier. Some of the things that I saw that were successful in affiliated ball during my time there, and then and just some of the things that the game has changed. So, yeah, that is definitely one of the things that I'm looking to implement and be a part of. And so far, the players that I've had the opportunity to speak with have embraced it, and it's been great.
And is that a situation where, if that tandem system works, and, you have two guys that can cover maybe 7 or 8 innings on any given night, where you don't have to carry 7 relief pitchers, that you only need maybe 1 or 2 guys to cover, those last couple of innings on a specific night, and maybe you can carry an extra bat on the bench or something like that?
Oh, yeah, ultimately, the thing that you do have here that I didn't have to deal with Houston was the salary cap issue as well. So, you do obviously need to watch your salary cap and with regards to your rosters and everything like that, but it does give you some flexibility. It does give you some flexibility with regards to your roster. Only if it works. But the beauty of it is, you could always switch back to a normal situation of pitching, and you have your mid relief and your closers and your 4 or 5 starters, whatever you might be. But it's just a different way of breaking down the pitching staff, making sure that they're getting rest, making sure that you're keeping arms healthy. And like I said, it was just a sound way of developing pitchers and having them show success on the field. And like I said, it might not work, it may work, but like I said, it's just one of those things that I saw from year to year, and my conversations with the pitchers, and they really all have enjoyed that situation. So, that's one of the things I definitely would like to see being done here in Gary.
And last one, I had asked Rick Forney, our manager, about this earlier, but I just kind of want to get your thoughts, because I don't think there's really a right answer to this, and just kind of getting your perspective as someone that's both played, coached, and managed. But there was the situation just a few days ago with Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. Home opener, had a perfect game through 7, was at 80 pitches in his pitch count, and Dave Roberts took him out, citing that, look, he's had some injury trouble the last couple of years. It's early in the season, and we want Clayton Kershaw over the course of the long haul. Fans, I know, are clamoring for him to at least have the opportunity to at least give up a hit on his own there. But just kind of your thoughts in a really tough situation when dealing with a really important player.
Well, I mean, as much as I'm a fan of the game, I would be on Dave Roberts' side here, and with regards to the implementation of you have a game plan set and how you're going to go about this, and you have, like you said, it's a long season. You got a 162 game season, and then it's a situation this year because of the lockout and the lockout situation where players didn't have full spring training, where you're going to have a lot of double headers. And so, just the protection of arms is always key and of value. And especially, I know for Dave and I played briefly together when I was with Detroit. And, just the thought process of protecting arms, because you just never know what you're going to bring up from the minor leagues, especially at the major league level. And you just never want an arm to break down, especially with someone of Clayton's ability, a future Hall of Famer, and you just want to protect him. And I think the best thing that came out of it is that Clayton pretty much confirmed Dave Roberts' decision in the post game, and the next day I believe it was as well. So, for me personally, like I said, it sounds like it was a situation where they had him on a pitch count, and he had gotten to that pitch count or in that area, and it just wasn't worth risking. As much as that perfect game situation might be, you'd love to have Clayton Kershaw pitching for you in the World Series again, and making sure that he's there. And so, like I said, each organization is different. The fan in me would have said leave him in there. The business side of it, and the coaching side of it, knowing that I have to be with these players every day for the rest of the year, and I would love to see them there at the end of the season, would say I got to get them out of there.
Well, outstanding stuff. Just a phenomenal insight, Lamarr. Really excited to see what you're going to be doing here with the Railcats. All the best to you and your family here as we approach the season, and look forward to catching up with you in person here in a couple of months.
Okay, well, I greatly appreciate it. Sounds like we'll be up there in July, so I can't wait to see you, okay, and meet you.